Order 36, and I'm happy to call on Deputy Pearse Doherty, please.
I can call you. Tisha, clock couple of bombage, agus the hajama, agus Ashley na Fakle, Lord Nancy Healy, agus Susan Ubrian, Nuak TG Kahara rare. Be quirk Miltonal in the Fakle, a Durchid, Unyari Tiger Hunnel, agus Kudge Tihi Loan, the Mika. Lorshad son and Warhudge Nadini at a Heeslish, agus at a Crete against Scannel Mika in our Gondai, agus New Wine in our Gondai, a can Mayo, agus na Gondai Elefaste, agus Tishad Sawyer, a Hishi, Nash game Kate van Gate is shot at a Fogre again, Rialtas in Ye, agus Nielchid Seste, Tishad the Ret, Mahampla di Vahain, will costish the Shaska Mile, Savresharu, Mar Nawaj, and the costish shouldn't include this game. So Ashley Nadini Shaw, a Hisha. Yesterday, Tisha, instead of dealing with the woeful deficiencies relating to the MICA and the pirate redress scheme that have been highlighted by ourselves in the opposition, but also by the homeowners, you choose to come in here and you chose to deflect. So while you may not want to listen to me, and that's fine, why don't you listen to the words of those affected? Because they know better than you, and they know better than I, of what this scheme really means for them, because they've lived this, they've waited for yesterday's announcement, and they know the numbers better than any of us. Barbara Clinton of the North Mayo Pirate Group said that the sliding scale has to go. We are coming up to Christmas, and we thought today was going to be positive. We thought we would be there, but we're not. For an average home, there is a shortfall of €45,000. This is a nightmare scenario for families, she said. Michael Doherty of the MICA Action Group said, for even the smallest of houses, people will have to put their hands in their pockets. Angeline Kelly from Inishowen Peninsula said the cheapest quote that she could get to rebuild her home is €155 per square foot, and estimates that she will need to cover a shortfall of almost €64,000 under the government's proposals announced yesterday. She said, Tisha, I'm absolutely devastated, disgusted and disappointed. I feel that our government has just driven a final nail in the coffin for the MICA homeowners. She said, where did this sliding scale come out of? And that's the question I have for you this morning. Where did this sliding scale come out of? Because yesterday you said that this is all based on the Society of Chartered Surveyors of Ireland, but they don't use a sliding scale. I told you yesterday, here in the Dáil, when we dealt with leaders' questions, the SCBI showed through their calculator the real cost for demolishing and rebuilding a house in the Northwest, and it's way above what is announced by your government yesterday. Donegal County Council has told your government that the tender price that they have received from contractors to demolish and rebuild the first 43 houses that have come through the existing scheme is an average €150 per square foot for all of the house, not just the first 1,000. And the government's proposals go nowhere near that, Tisha. So this isn't 100% redress, it's nowhere near it. So you need to go back to the drawing board here. There are measures in yesterday's announcement that I welcome, and I have no hesitation in saying that. They have been delivered in respect of rental and storage and testing costs. All of those issues are acceptable. But Tisha, the point here is that's no use to families. That's no use to families if you're saying to families in Buncrana and Inishowen and Milford and Letterkenny and Lifford and elsewhere in Mayo and the other affected counties that you need to come up with 45,000, 55,000, 65,000 to actually put towards remaking your house. Families that are already carrying large mortgages for the houses they built in the first place. This is no fault of their own. So Tisha, can I ask you, will you get rid of the sliding scale and allow us to have a scheme that can be built on?
Thank you, Deputy. Taoiseach, please.
Where in the team lesson talkta agus is léir go pakashta den sco atá own fi láthir agus is léir go dhéanann Ara O'Brien annach idibre chun scéim a bhad níos fearr a chur a bhaim scéim níos fairsinge agus I móthúram dul chun cín anna bhór le feiscint an seo agus caithfidh tú é sin a bháil in neireadh do chuid bhaightas dhéann tú iireacht é sin a bháil ach sé go bunúsach atá gceist go héin ná tá fáin orsa an factas a chamad a raig sin an bunwad agus sin an budwad I déobh de fartaí sin atá gceist a gcuiste an factas a chamad a raig. The government, I think, has made a very, very comprehensive response to the MICA issue. The scheme that was announced yesterday by the Minister is expansive, an extra 800 million, 2.2 billion of a scheme to deal comprehensively with the issues that were raised by residents. And our only objective is to ensure that residents can get their homes rebuilt. Now, you keep saying the government should return to the table. You never turned up to the table. That's the problem. You want to keep this campaign going. You're refusing to say, as we said yesterday, the square footage rate is based on SSI methodology. Hear me out a second, please, and I didn't interrupt you. And it's indicative. And we did say it would be updated. And the Minister has said that yesterday. And you ignore that today. You ignore that today. The SSI will be updated only next April and annually thereafter. We have said that consistently. And then in addition to that, we've got rid of the upfront costs. 10% contribution is gone. The certification is there now in terms of if you get remedial work and if it doesn't work out or something happens, that government will come back again with a second response and that the people will have that option. There are huge advances here, Deputy. You should acknowledge those, and not in a very sort of begrudging way towards the end of your contribution as you did. You've invented figures yesterday in terms of square footage average site. There's no CSO data, there's no LPT data that backs your claim about the average micro home and so forth. And that's the beautiful presentation that you guys tried to do. That data does not exist. And no we're not asking families to come up with 45,000 or 60,000. We've brought up an upfront grant of 20,000 to cover the rent and to cover storage. We've got rid of upfront costs. We've got rid of the 10% contribution. And we're bringing in the housing agency to play a central role in relation to all of this. Our fundamental objective is to facilitate families to get their homes rebuilt. And we will do that, and to spare them the cost of having to do it. And I think it's the indicative of what we're saying, and the Minister will be working with the Surveys Engineer of Ireland in terms of the indicative costs going forward. We've built that into the overall cost of the scheme as well in terms of inflation and so forth, and taking on board, because this will take quite a number of years to get houses remediated and to get houses rebuilt. I think we all agree on that.
Please. Do you not understand this? And like every single homeowner that's rejected this scheme are wrong. They know their own lived experience because they need that house that is crumbling around them fixed. They're facing another Christmas that they don't know where next Christmas is going to be. These houses are in terrible state, so they need a proper scheme. We were coming in here on the basis of what was said to the campaigners yesterday morning to welcome this scheme in the main. That's what was going to happen. But what happened was Cabinet got hold of it and butchered it. The reality is, SCBI tell you that the cost of rebuilding a house in the Northwest is way higher than what is under this scheme. You have decided to take the SCBI figure and then butcher them through this economies of scale that will remain in the future. It's there on page 7 of the questions and answers. You see I make up figures. Listen to what Donegal County Council has done. They're processing the existing scheme. The average house size that has gone through that is the figures I put on the record yesterday. But more importantly, 43 tenders have come in with the costs to demolish those houses and to rebuild them. The homeowners don't want to make a penny out of this. They just want their homes built. And the Donegal County Council has told your government, has told Charlie McConnell, has told yourself, it's €150. So if you really want to do what you've just said now, get rid of the sliding scale, because engineers, surveyors say, we don't know where it comes up with. SCBI don't have it in their calculator. Get rid of it and we can work on this scheme.
The time is up. Can we stick with parliamentary language?
Invoking, making a feigned attempt, by the way, a very feigned attempt by you to pretend, and feigned outrage, all designed around the campaign. That's what you're at, and I can see through you. I can see through you, Deputy. I can see through you. What I want to say to the residents, what I want to say to the residents is this, and to the homeowners. We're working on this, right? We've worked on it for the last year, and Minister O'Brien has. Deputy O'Loughlin is shouting and roaring at me now. He endorsed the last scheme, said it was fine. He endorsed it.
People at Donegal gave it a chance, and we won't be fooled twice. We won't be fooled twice.
That we get houses started now. If they get up to I want no more delays. I want no more endless campaigning for the sake of the campaigning and exploiting it for political or electoral interest.
Stop and do the right thing.
My only interest now is the homeowners. In February, the Surveyor Engineers Ireland will be updating in February their costs in terms of square footage and so on. And we have said And the Minister has said that that square footage rate is indicative. But equally, and you know this, deep down you know it, the larger a house you get, the bigger the economies of scale. They do factor in. We do not want a scheme that disadvantages smaller houses. And look at the LPT data, and look at CSO data, and you will find houses in and around the 200,000, 250. We're not going to have homeowners having to fork out 40,000. We've no interest in having a situation like that in terms of the average homeowner. And it is wrong to create the fear and to create the feigned anger and so on that I've witnessed this morning.
Please.
Come on.